You are now listening to the Insight Fantasy Sports Podcast.
Ladies and gents, welcome. My name is DFAB, and welcome to the NFL show for Week 1, where we're going to be reviewing everything that's kicked off over the last 2-3 days. Football's finally back, boys. I know it's been a long day for all three of us. Secko and Mav, I know that you guys in particular are feeling it. Mav, how are you feeling, mate, after day one?
Mate, I'm in the ringer a little bit myself. Fantasy wise, it's been a really good day. Most leagues I'm in at the moment, I've pretty much already won. I'm in 9 leagues, and I've already pretty much won 8 of them already. 9 will be tomorrow if Hawkinson's going to score more than 9 points, which I'm pretty confident he should. But anyway, that's a bit of a 50-50. But outside of that, mate, it's fantastic to have football back. And, mate, it was just good to getting up at 3 a.m. and seeing Scott Hanson's beautiful face on my screen.
He's a handsome man, isn't he? Secko, how you feeling, buddy?
Scott. Yeah, good. I just realised it's been 17 hours awake, and I feel like it. But no, we're plugging on. We're talking fantasy, mate. So we're couldn't be in a better place. It's funny, Mav just said he's going to win 9. I was going to win 7. My 7 leagues, I was in front coming into Sunday Night Football in all of them, and some of them pretty comfortable. And I'm just telling you boys off before the pod. I faced combinations of Lamar, Henry, Flowers, had his only good game in his whole life against me in a couple of spots. James Cook, Keon Coleman, I said combinations across the board. Went from 7 up to 2, only 2 up. So, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. But I was feeling a lot better at 9 a.m. But anyway, we move on.
Oh, mate, I couldn't agree more. And I went against Zay Flowers and Lamar in 2 of my 7. And same thing, was up everything in the green prior to. And then the game kicked off, and then Flowers decided to have the best game he's ever had in his entire career. And now I need like DJ Moore to outscore players by 17 or 18. Like it's all gone. But we do our best. And I'm sure we're not the only ones. I'm sure everyone in the community is feeling the exact same. We've all been pipped at the post. I'm sure a lot of people got hurt by Josh Allen today. That 270-yard, 3-touchdown fourth quarter was legendary. And I'm sure it stole a lot of wins from a lot of people. Boys, we're going to start with some news. Obviously, we know that with fantasy coming back, that injuries happen. We've talked a lot about it, especially in the Supercoach world. You want to have some cash there ready for these injuries. And we had some big names go down, specifically in the tight end landscape. First off, Brock Bowers, who came off with what looked to be a non-contact left knee. Early speculation points towards a possible PCL, but he's going to have to go for scans to get things confirmed. Secko, I'll start with you. How worried are you about Brock Bowers?
I was really worried. One of the Twitter docs said that he was suspecting an ACL. However, that's just literally one guy's opinion, and it's already all been sort of debunked. There was a story that came out where Bowers himself said he was fine. So again, players say that scans sort of tell the true story, but there's every chance, if it's anything, it's minor. I don't think it's anything to be super panicky if you've got him, if it's only going to be a week or 2, but ideally you don't want him to miss more than a week, especially in the Supercoach realm. Gets a lot harder if you've got to carry it for a couple of weeks. But in terms of redraft, you can cover him. There's a lot of bench tight ends you can get in for a week or 2.
So you think he's just a one or 2 weeker?
Yeah, but a few things I've seen about it, it just doesn't seem like it's a major. Like it's probably a slight PCL strain or MCL strain, but it doesn't seem like a major one. A couple of places that he says he's fine. Usually that wouldn't be said, an hour later unless it was sort of minor. But I mean, we won't know till probably Wednesday. So fingers crossed.
For sure, Matt.
Yeah, a little bit concerned. There's been reports saying he's all good, everything like that. But again, we don't know until scans actually come through. So look, it's probably looking like a minor thing. If he's missing any time in your traditional fantasy, Michael Mayer actually came to life after he went down. And look, he's ready to go, boys. There he is, deadly in the chat. He's ready to go, boys. There was some trade interest going around the league, but he wasn't available. He's a receiving tight end, so one to watch there. If Bowers does miss any time with Geno Smith, it's amazing. Outside of that, in the Supercoach world, if Bowers does miss any time, would have to think about trading him. Would have to really sit down and worry about that one at a different time. So we'll wait till the club's out first before we make a decision.
Yeah, and it's probably a good prompt. Keep an eye on, your different social streams and injury reports and stuff like that. We're going to hear more when they get the scans done tomorrow. And just just stay water. Be ready to pivot if you have to. Another tight end, another elite tight end, George Kittle. I believe these are tight end 1 and 2 on Mav's Supercoach side. Kittle, I believe, halfway through the second quarter, came up sore with a hamstring. It's been advised that he'll be having an MRI tomorrow. I know I'm a little bit worried about that. He was at pretty much a full sprint down the sideline when it went. It looked like there was a real pop, so probably due to miss some extended time. Mav, do you kind of lean the same?
Yeah, I do. Any soft tissue injury worries me. Doesn't matter at any point of the year because it can reoccur at any time. So being a top tight end, it's going to hurt everyone. He was a good value in fantasy drafts. He was the top value in Supercoach. So it's going to hurt regardless of he'll miss time. He will miss time. So in the meantime, it looks like that 49ers offense was moving the ball without him still. CMC somehow was just getting dumped off City. So one to watch there, but I expect a few weeks at least.
Yeah. Are you the same, Secko?
I'm expecting an IR stint, to be honest. The 4 week short-term IR wouldn't surprise me at all, especially a 30-plus-year-old tight end. So, look, they seem to go all right. Afterwards, Pearsall popped off for a couple of big ones. But CMC, that's pretty much gave him the clearance to just get, what do you have, 10 catches? 10 targets, maybe? They don't have anyone else. They didn't have anyone else to play that role. I mean, Juszczyk got catches, like they needed someone. So it'd be interesting to see what they do. They don't really have a backup tight end either. So, and they, Jennings is underdone, Ayuk's out. They haven't got any other backup receivers.
The backup scored the winner.
Times,
The backup scored the game winner.
Was it? Yeah. What's his name? Tones or something?
It's like Tongs.
I can't even remember his name.
Tongs. Like barbecue tongs.
Yeah. He had not had correct if I'm wrong, he had not had a single catch in the NFL prior to this game and then just brings in the game winner.
Yeah. Jay Tongs. He had three catches as well. Anyway. I just want to highlight a chat. Sorry, it's in the just while I've seen it here, from CUNTER. He said Ravens defense is shit house, -2 and lost by a point. Why are you starting a defense against Josh Allen in the first place?
Yeah.
Sorry, but come on, it's got to be called out. I know you might have drafted him really high. You got to stream for a week, I'm sorry, I don't think no sympathy from any of us here. Anyway, said call it out.
Yeah. No, very fair. Moving on from there, we've got another 3 injuries to note. We already knew about Xavier Worthy on Friday with a separated shoulder. First drop, I thought it was the second or third snap of the game, collided with Travis Kelce. I saw an online speculation that Kelce lined him up because old T Swift said that she liked the way Xavier Worthy played and he was just kind of taking him out. But yeah, dislocated shoulder, I believe. He's optimistic that he's going to play possibly next week or the week after with a brace. I think there's a world where it happens. I guess he's kind of a gadget guy that can just get those short dump offs and stuff. Secko, any thoughts to add on Worthy or just one to watch?
No, just that I know that Kelce didn't do it deliberately, but like that is the most like if you didn't know, if there was a defender, they would be ejected for it, like potentially be ejected for how much it was just a blatant hit, and he got him in the head as well on the way through.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
But no, look, it all depends if you get surgery. So if they say he needs surgery, he's not playing for a long time, and then Rice is still 5 weeks away. Will's up for Kelce, which I hate to say because I faded him in Supercoach and in drafts, and I just had nothing to do with him. But he's going to have a clear runway to have a lot of catches. So if you have Kelce,
Hollywood Brown too,
and Hollywood, and Hollywood was great late, and so like if he's out, it's like Hollywood's the guy and Kelsey, and they really haven't got anything else because their backfield is absolute rubbish. So they're going to be throwing a lot regardless of who they play.
Yep. Very quickly before I throw to you there, Mav, there's lots of questions coming through in the chat from Lockie and Sam and stuff like that. We'll be opening up for a question time for the last 10-15 minutes of the pod. So stick around. We will be addressing all these questions. That'll be towards the back end of the show. Mav, Xavier Worthy, anything to add from what Secko's mentioned or?
Just further that. Yeah, look, I don't know. We'll watch to see how much time he's going to miss. It looks like it's going to be pretty significant. He was in a world of pain. But again, Hollywood Brown, like massive. Like he's on 50% of waivers right now at least. Like that's a smash buy right there. Like Tyquan Thornton for like a real deep throw. Like just because they've got nobody else isn't a bad shout either. And he looked pretty good too, might I add. Anything with Mahomes I like. So
agreed.
So that's one to watch anyway. But we'll go through waivers at another time.
Yep, absolutely. Next one up, back to the 49ers, unfortunately, an already banged up receiving room. Juwan Jennings with hurt his shoulder. Again, another MRI tomorrow with Kittle to determine the severity. I actually didn't see this one, I'll be honest. So I'm not really sure if it was an innocuous one or what. It kind of caught me by surprise. I've got him in a couple of different places. Mav, do you have any thoughts on the Juwan Jennings?
Not really. This guy is just like an injury cloud moving at the moment. Like he can't stay healthy through preseason. Like he had very minimal preseason one I had too. So I'm surprised they actually played in week 1. I would have rested him. You're looking at the long term here, not the short term. So one to watch. But again, like they're just crippled. Really are. So as much as we're high up on CMC and guys like Ricky Pearsall, but it's also gonna be hard to move the ball with these problems that they've got as well. So one to watch.
For sure. Secko?
Yeah, there's no news on it. I tried to look it up beforehand because I didn't see it and it wasn't really shown anywhere that I could see. There's no video on it or anything. So it may have just been not an incident, like it just didn't look like anything and he just sort of showed signs, once they're off the field or whatever. Went to blue tent then. So we'll have to find out. It could be nothing at all. There's a chance it's nothing at all.
Yeah,
but
sure.
We'll figure it out.
And what we're hoping is also nothing at all. Drake London. So my smoky for a bloke that I thought could be a Triple Crown winner this year on the last drive of the game was sidelined with a shoulder, sat out that last drive. And again, not ideal from someone that you will have invested, pretty high draft capital. In some leagues he was the back end first, but early second in a lot. It's not ideal. It looks like it's day to day though, which is encouraging. Looks like he's avoided a major injury, but still not ideal. Boys, I'll go to the open floor here. Do you think that if he's questionable but plays next week, are you going to start him even if he does kind of come through questionable, or you think this is we might have to see him for a week or two and just see how things go?
Again, it's watch this space with Drake London, obviously. You'll never know until you actually know, I suppose. But like, again, we're talking about 15 targets he had today. This is mental, right? Sure. He had 8 catches, but only received 55 yards and no touchdowns. So like volume-wise, it's there. But also there was not much substance to go with it as well. Like Penix was fine, but also wasn't at the same time. Like he, good plays, bad plays. So there was a bit of both. So I'm still fine with London playing. If he plays next week again, he's going to be uber targeted. We've seen this before in the game today and the last 3 or 4 games last year. He's the guy.
Yeah, for sure. Secko?
They have no one. You can say whatever you want about Pitts. We always bring him up. It's a running joke, but he's not real target competition. There's Ray McLeod and Darnell Mooney. When he's fit, if he's fit, he won't be 100%. He's a good player. I like Darnell Mooney a lot, but he won't be fit for a while if he does play. Everything suggests if he practices in any capacity, he'll play. It's that kind of thing. So he's probably a week at most if he misses. If he plays, you put him in your lineup. I don't think you have to. He's going to get 10+ targets every single time he plays, and all he has to do is just break one. To your point, I think DFAB, I think you said it off the cuff there. He looked like a rookie today.
He did.
He's not. He played 3 games last year and looked actually really good in some of them. He just looked out of it against them, not a great defense and not a great secondary. He just some bad throws. So hopefully it was jitters. It's his first time as the actual bona fide starter and a C on his chest. So hopefully next week after, ideally, if he does miss the week after, Penix should have plenty of reps and be able to pepper him and hopefully get some over the top, because I'm with you. I think a Triple Crown is actually in the range of outcomes for him, purely because he's going to get 180 plus targets.
Yeah. And I think it's important, being it's only round one. We'll talk about it a lot later as well, but exercise patience. Don't overreact. Exercise patience.
Yeah.
The fact that was his first real NFL games. It wasn't against scrubs. Like, Tampa Bay aren't the best defensive unit, but they're a damn sight better than last year's Giants, not Redskins, Commanders and Panthers, right? And that's who he played last year. So he's come out week one. We know that week one always throws curveballs like it did this year too. I didn't mind it. I thought he was okay. A good starting point. It could have been a lot worse. So it wasn't horrible.
And it's Vikings next week, but then it's Panthers, Commanders, and someone else pretty average, I think, who he's beaten up. Then the bye. So he's got weeks 3 and 4. I can see him and London having days. So if you own him, obviously keep him.
Yep.
Get whole patience,
Exactly
even
right.
if he misses a week.
Exactly right. Cool. So that's the main injuries. Obviously, just keep an eye on your lineups, sleeper, and all your platforms will give you up-to-date injury news. So anyone that's on your lineups, just keep your ear close to the ground. If you do have additional questions, feel free to reach out to any of us on our social platforms. Here, guys, we're going to go through, I'm calling it the rapid recap, but in a very, very quick way, we're going to go through every game on today's slate and just kind of highlight the highlights and lowlights and just kind of have a quick chat about it. We'll get stuck in. So we'll start with Dallas Philly to open up the season. Real mixed bag. We had some really good performances from Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, but I think the real surprise in the game was the viability of Javonte Williams with a 20.4 in half PPR, had 2 touchdowns, was the clear number one in that Dallas backfield. Secko, I'll throw to you first, mate. Outside of the really established names like your Barkleys, your CDs, your Hurts that we knew were going to perform, Javonte, how surprised are you and how viable do you think he's going to be as a fantasy option moving forward?
I'm not surprised. I picked him up a lot of places where I sort of hero RB'd and completely punted the position because this early season he's the only one. Jaden Blue was inactive. Miles Sanders had one good play and then he fumbled the next play, which is very Miles Sanders thing to do.
It is.
That's pretty much his career wrapped up in a drive. So this guy, and look, they were 2 1-yarders. Like, some players can't get it in. Javonte Williams can punch it in from the one twice, right? So do not expect he's going to be waiver wire candy come Wednesday, and people are just going to burn their money because don't expect this is going to be his absolute ceiling. But what do you have? 50-odd yards? Like that's
54
what you expect
and 2
from him.
tutties. Yeah.
54, 15. Did he have any catches? Probably 1 or 2.
2 catches for 10.
So 60 yards. So 60 yards and 2 catches, 8 to 10 PPR points is probably where you expect from him. If he falls in the end zone once, you've had a good day. But I wouldn't be starting him.
Yeah. Mav, are you in agreement, being the resident Cowboys fan?
I didn't mind him. I was probably more disappointed in CD Lamb, to be honest. There was some gimmies, absolute gimmies, and especially to his standard as well. But I'll go to the Eagles side. There's not much really else to report on the Dallas side. They're okay. But the Eagles were really disappointing all in all. Like AJ Brown was I suppose he was a chess piece. Like they just put him out there and said, okay, he
was a witch's hat this week, mate.
And then you got Devonta Smith as well, who was, I don't know what happened there, but expecting some big things for next week for these two, bounce backs at least. But outside of that, Saquon doing Saquon things and Hurts doing Hurts things. So outside of that, not much else. For
sure. The Brazil game the following day, definitely in Brazil and not Spain, like Travis Kelce seems to think it was. Big highlight there was obviously the QB battle, Mahomes versus Herbert, both of them putting up really, really solid scores for fantasy and what was, I thought, a really, really entertaining game. The Chargers showed a lot. I don't know if I expected them to be a team that showed enough that they could compete with the best, but it looks like Jim Harbaugh is really putting the onus on Herbert to carry them. gave him, a lot more ownership of the offense, threw a lot more, scrambled a lot more, and they looked a lot more dynamic for it. Do you think that's maybe a little bit too bullish, Mav, or did you see something similar to what I saw and can see a really high ceiling for these guys?
Well, we're expecting Justin Herbert to keep on rolling, right? So we expected him coming into the year that he needs to really make a step up in his career. He's got weapons now. McConkey's obviously a weapon. Keenan Allen's obviously a weapon still. And then, you got Huge that came in there and stepped up as well. So the offense is moving really well. Hampton looked okay, but the offense in itself looked like phenomenal. So Justin Herbert, seriously, could be one of the best players of the comp this year. If that's the way he's going to trend. That was against good defense too. But just quickly, I want to say as well, I saw one of the best plays ever in that game. That was the fire drill. That was I can't explain how good that was. That is unbelievable.
For sure. Yeah. Secko, I want to very, I guess, kind of quietly pivot for my question to you there, mate. Hollywood Brown kind of came out with, we just spoke about Xavier Worthy before, and kind of Hollywood Brown really took that spot. Even Juju Smith-Schuster, when Worthy's gone down, he showed some viability. And like Mav said, we know we want to have pieces of that Chiefs offense. Are you going out there to get these guys?
It depends on the team and the build. Hollywood's going to cost a lot of money, right? So, and yes, he had 16 targets. And yes, he's been really good before. I'm not next week could be Tyquan Thornton gets 9 targets, or some other spud like John Brownlee or whatever his name is, or Noah Gray if he's still there, or
how much fab would you burn on him?
Would I 15?
Stop up. So 15% of your fab.
If I copped an injury, if I had Worthy. If I had Worthy, I'd probably go a bit more. But it depends on what your need is. If you've got someone on the bench who is a top 30, a wide receiver 3 type who you can be putting on for whoever the injured guy is, you probably don't need to burn that much. I don't know if Hollywood's going to be a long-term great play, but he might buy you a few wins. So, 15, 20. Nice. It's worth it. I mean, he's obviously showing he's still got something left to give.
He's got juice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Next game on the slate, Tampa Bay versus Atlanta. Again, relatively solid game, but maybe a little bit lackluster. Started with a bang. Bijan Robinson, a 54-yard that catch that he took to the house, first touchdown of the year. What was a really, really entertaining first 30 minutes of Red Zone this morning for those of us, the sickos that got up and watched it. Bucky Irving did his job. We know that Drake London had the shoulder, but was still comfortable. If that's his floor, 13.5, it's still comfortable. But I think the shining light in this is Emeka Egbuka. And I've been pounding the table for Emeka all preseason. Finished with 2 touchdowns, only 4 for 6 through the air in terms of volume, but obviously made the most of it. Mav, do you think there's a little bit too much smoke and not enough fire with Egbuka, or are you buying in off that first day performance for him?
I mean, he's always going to get boosted when he has 2 touchdowns in a game, right? It's always going to be a good-looking score. So, again, temper expectations. He's not going to score 2 touchdowns every week, but the involvement was good. It was a solid outing. I mean, the second touchdown was an absolute dime from Baker.
It was.
The ball placement was absolutely phenomenal. You can't get any better than that. Bucky Irving, honestly, lucky he scored that touchdown because he was really pretty average, to be honest. 2.6 yards per carry. Had 14 attempts, but 2.64 yards per carry. And then, if he doesn't score that receiving touchdown, it's a real bust because he had 4 receptions for 8 yards. So, very touchdown dependent on this week. But, hey, that's what good players do, I suppose. They find a way to put a score on the board. But one to watch there for just the short term anyway.
For sure. Secko, anything to add, mate?
No, I was going to say, Bucky, less than 2.4 points per play. That includes catches. Very much touchdown deodorant. Bijan was actually really bad on the ground. Which
it was a weird game overall.
It was a weird game. It was a lot of either 3 and outs or good long solid touchdown drives. But Egbuka was the story. But I think Mike Evans' game next week I feel like I think he had 9 targets. He dropped a couple of ones he should have had, and Baker was a bit rusty early, so on some of those targets. So yeah, DFS play Mike Evans next week.
Very nice. Another weird game. We'll say that a bit. I think Cincinnati versus Cleveland was a pretty disgusting 17-16 game. Joe Burrow was kind of on brand with his last, 3-4 years, where the first couple of games he's kind of shit house. Had only 113 yards through the air, so really, really average. Chase Brown was pretty average, 43 yards for 21 carries. I know Dylan Sampson's getting a little bit of shine at the moment for his 8 catches for 64 out of the backfield, which is a bit surprising. I think a lot of people expected Jerome Ford to get the lion's share, so Dylan Sampson might be one to watch. But other than that, it was a pretty gross game. Harold Fannin, though, I know we're going to talk about him later. That's a really interesting one. What I might do, if it's all right with you guys, I might skip flipping to you about Fannin and stuff, because I got a question about him later. But outside of the tight end landscape in this game, is there anything that made you panic or worry, or Secko, you're pretty comfortable with the guys that are there?
I wouldn't say that I'm not panicked. Like, it's super low play count. Like, when was the last time that Cincy had ran only 46 plays on offense? Yeah. But I mean, touchdown only to Fant. He had 100. What do you have? 113 yards, I think it was. Burrow, that is. 14 completions. I know Cleveland can be good on defense, but the fact that they still won that game it blows my mind. I watched it, but Flacco just did his best to throw it away. Like he was trying to tank for his own replacement next year at times. But Dylan Sampson, man, we might talk about him later. I drafted him in a bunch of spots. Him and Fannin, who we'll get to later. But I wasn't expecting Ford to be the main guy. I was expecting Sampson to be the guy until Judkins is back, and hopefully it doesn't happen, because this guy could be the guy, and he could literally just make. If he has one more good contest, he could make Judkins redundant this season. So hopefully, for me, that happens.
Yeah, big call. Mav.
This game was actually exactly what I expected it to be. Elite defense in the Browns versus a really bad offense, in the Browns. And I saw exactly that. I mean, there was one play where Myles Garrett had 2 sacks back-to-back and then had another sack after, should have another sack after that. It was 3 sacks in a row for the Browns. Nearly gave them a safety. So, look, I'm not too worried about the Bengals. They're notoriously slow starters anyway. So I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, the Browns, like that was awful viewing. To be honest with you, offense like Jerry Jeudy, for example, like just he looked terrible. And so did Njoku as well. I mean, Harry Fannin obviously outplayed him, but Njoku, Jesus Christ, we were really high on Njoku coming in. It was value at every spot that he was going in fantasy drafts. He had potentially a massive workload. So that's one to watch there. One to watch.
100%. Next game on the slate. Really encouraging on one side of the footy and really, really disappointing on the other. Miami losing to Indiana 33-8, or Indianapolis, sorry. Lots of positives from the Colts side. Daniel Jones, there was very few of us DJ truthers, but I know we got onto it pretty late once he was finally confirmed that he had the job, and kind of came out and did what a lot of us hoped he would behind a good line, was able to take his time, hit the right passes, was hyper efficient with his passes, and did some on his legs as well, and rewarded those guys that started him with 2 touchdowns. So really, really good showing from him. Jonathan Taylor looked great, had over 100 all-purpose, or just under 100 all-purpose, 98, I believe. DJ Giddens, a surprise. Got a lot more work than I thought he would. He had 12 carries to Jonathan Taylor's 18. So he was a lot more.
Why?
Yeah, please.
Jonathan Taylor got pulled at the 7-minute mark of the third quarter because they were up 30-0. So all Giddens' touches were literally JT didn't come back on.
Well, there you go.
JT would have had one of those standard 130-yard rushing, 50 through the air kind of games if he had been allowed to stay on. But they said, no, look, this Miami offense is atrocious. Let's just pull him before he gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Giddens had a lot of play, but he's 12 for 41 shows what he did with the work he got. Yeah, I'm just annoyed as a tail runner in a couple of spots that he got robbed of a big day because he was rolling at that stage. But yeah, sorry
And this
for
is why
jumping
you
in,
listen to
but
us, guys.
that's
No,
it.
it's good. This is why you listen to us, so you don't get drawn
Yeah,
in by the stats. You know the
reading
narrative
makes
for
it
it.
look like 100% because like box score reading, it looks like he's had 12 of 30, 40 something percent. But no, like it was literally all junk time. I did want to speak about Tyler Warren. If you go up at 3 a.m. like we did, like he had 4 catches before quarter time, pretty much.
Yeah.
Daniel Jones clearly loves this dude. He loves Pittman down the sideline, but Warren's just going to be the dude getting peppered all game. So if you have a share of him, enjoy.
Yeah, 100%. Mav, anything to add there, mate?
I wouldn't overreact on the Dolphins' offense, to be honest with you. Let's not overreact too much. Look, they were really bad. Don't get me wrong. You can't excuse what they did. But Tua's not that bad of a player. Like, he's average, but he's not that bad. That was incompetence. That's what that was. He's not that bad. It was a lot of rust and everything like that. So, Tyreek Hill actually scored all right despite what he saw. So you can imagine if it was a good game of offense, what he could score potentially if the ball moves around a little bit. So, and then Jalen Waddle, he just becomes even more a massive problem in fantasy football and Supercoach if you didn't have him as a mid-price player. He got injured again. I think he came back. But it's always been a big problem. Him staying healthy has always been a big problem for him. But that's all I have about the Finns. To be honest, they don't deserve any much more time than that.
Yeah, for sure. I guess there's some tentative optimism that they bounce back, but it was not a good first showing. And speaking of not having a good first showing, I know that Mull and myself have been relatively bullish on Carolina's looking how they're going to look this year, and they got dropped by 16 in Liam Combs' first hit out as head coach of the Jags. In what was a relatively competent showing from a lot of the guys on the Jacksonville side. The key there is that I think we all got our answer that Etienne is the number one running back in that room. Blitzed away for I think it was a 70-something yard run, 79 yard, I think was his long, but 16 carries for 143, 3 catches through the air. Bashal Tootin, 3 carries, Tank Bigsby 5. Just not. It seems very clear that that's now been spelled out. But other than that, like wide receiver room, weird game. I think just like knowing like what the score was a bit of a weird game. Secko, I'll start with you there, mate. What are your thoughts there? And are you worried about whether it be like the play call split or how it played out? What are your thoughts?
So they had the long weather delay, and it's sort of the exact same thing happened on Thursday night. So I don't know what it is, but when a game gets interrupted and they're off for like an hour, they come out looking like absolute like junior varsity. Like they just cannot do anything. So yeah, I think it's just chalk it up to a bit of a weird one. They both drag each other down, I think, a little bit as well. Like they were really bad on offense, both sides. Brian Thomas was he was open a lot. I remember watching bits. I'm like, he's wide open, and the ball just was nowhere near him. So I think Trevor Lawrence has still got that Trevor Lawrence stink from the last couple of years. He's not going to be the answer. Like I can call it now. He won't be a 5-year. Cover that contract, man. There's no way he'll see that contract out with that team. Cohen will call it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But they'll be better. Yeah,
for sure. Mav?
Yeah, I'm the same. I was really disappointed with Trevor Lawrence today. Again, they won, so good on them. But it wasn't really on the back of his play. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Agreed.
But I just want to make a quick shout out to my boy Cam Little, the kicker. Secko, I want you to. I know you know about this, but I was so bullish on Cam Little coming to this week, scoring a big score, and he did. Again, this is on the back of Trevor Lawrence just being an average player. So that's more so what Trevor Lawrence is about than Cam Little. But yeah, all in all, it was pretty gross on both sides. Even the Panthers, they didn't really show much. Bryce Young was average at best, like 1 TD to 2 interceptions, and Tet was okay. So look, it was just average.
Yep, for sure. Next one, again, another surprise. The Raiders got the upset over the Patriots in New England, which was really surprising. And I guess that's just a sign that people continue to underestimate Geno and his play calling abilities, because he really commanded that offense with confidence and competence, throwing for 362 and a touchdown. Some average scores out of Genty. I think we all kind of hoped for a little bit more, having 19 carries for only 38 yards on the tutty. Kind of got bailed out with a touchdown that they got, that he got. Sorry, but yeah, a lot to like from the receiving room. Myers was great. Trey Tucker had that big touchdown catch. Even Dante Thornton, the guy that we started talking about as, this guy could break out, and although only 4 receptions, was getting a lot of downfield targets. And I think one that's really interesting to watch, as well as Michael Mayer with Brock Bowers going down. New England side of the ball, Kayshon Boutte, he's going to be someone that is going to get some look in on the waiver show. Stephon Diggs looked good, short throws, but looked the goods. And then obviously Trey Henderson in the running back room, as we expected, lots of catches out of the backfield. Probably didn't run with as much explosivity as we had hoped. Still averaged close to 5 yards carry, but didn't get that big breakaway that we really hoped for. It feels like an average middling game, it was a better watch in person, like in real life, than it was fantasy wise. Mav, I'll start with you. Anything to add to that, or is that kind of where we're at?
When Travion Henderson gets those touches and gets the keys to this offense, you can already see that this is going to be an elite player.
Yeah.
Look, 5 carries isn't enough for him. Ran the ball pretty, it was okay. But through the air was where he made his money. So once they fuck off Ramondre Stevenson, get rid of him, Travion's is really going to be time for him to go to ball out. You're right about Genty as well, man. Like, we're happy about the volume. Happy to see the volume. I'm just going to put it down to first game, rookie jitters. But volume was there, and it looked like he did okay when he needed to. He wasn't like going down on first contact. He was trying to fight through the contact as well. So he'll have a time where he breaks out, and we'll see Genty really start to get going. But again, it's only his first game. It's happened before.
Yeah, absolutely. Secko?
Yeah, no, I just want to say Ramondre Stevenson, 7-15. He can go. Just get out, mate. Like, no good. Just leave us alone.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Now, I can comfortably say, at least for my eyes, this was the most disgusting game on the slate. Arizona versus New Orleans. It was not a very aesthetically pleasing game. Kyler Murray, I still can't get past the meme I saw last year saying that Kyler Murray looks like a toddler running from his parents. That's like he's got something and he's trying to keep it away from him. That's just too funny. But yeah, pretty average game. Marvin Harrison, exactly what you wanted to see from him. Those deep outside targets, got a touchdown, which is what you want. Olave got plenty of targets on the other side of the ball. They weren't good ones, but he got targets nonetheless. So at least you can hope that there's going to be a volume floor, even if he's not going to be scoring. I found the most interesting part out of this game, though, guys, the split between Connor and Trey Benson. Again, I'll talk to you guys about this a little bit later, but yeah, really, really interesting. A much more 50-50 split than I really expected, to be honest. So, as I said, I'll touch on Trey Benson later, but that gives you guys a little bit of a taste on what that question is there. Any additional, I guess we'll focus on the tight ends for you guys. Obviously, Trey McBride and Juwan Johnson with some pretty big scores, probably the most substantial contributions today. Secko, what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, Kyler's really good at targeting McBride. He just can't do it anywhere inside the 10. I'm hoping that will change because he deserves something. He deserves some touchdown luck. When it happens, it's gonna hopefully pour. He hit Harrison on one good pass. He had probably 2 good passes for the whole game. But I think he just didn't have to do anything, Kyler Murray. So
yeah,
we'll talk about the backfield later. But for the McBride's going to have, that's his floor. 6 for 61. That's a floor game. When they need to throw a lot more, he'll do a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, Mav.
Mate, the tight end won this week. Juwan Johnson. Actually, a fact. He was the tight end one. Well, before tomorrow's game.
I was going to say, tomorrow before Hawkinson goes crazy.
At this point, he's the tight end one, and he dropped a game tire So that should have been a tutty.
Mm.
Honestly, I was actually really impressed with
They didn't want to
Spencer
win.
Rattler.
They didn't want to win. I'll say it right now. There's no way they wanted to win that. They didn't use timeouts when they should have. They didn't kick the extra point. They didn't catch a touchdown, which is wide open. He was told not. They're all told not to win. Let's be honest.
Playing for Arch Manning at week 1, you reckon?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I was really impressed with Spencer Rattler, to be honest. I thought he was actually okay. Like I was expecting
He
this
is good.
offense to be a complete like disaster, like dumpster fire sort of stuff. He was actually okay. He got Olave involved. He had 7 catches, 54 yards, like short route, sure, but like enough volume there to get him going. I love Shaheed as a player, man. He needs to get the fuck out of there. Seriously, he really does. He's got real potential to be a big blow up player at a good offense. Like even if you put him on the Chiefs, man, imagine that. It'd be awesome. But
You should have pretty much anyone though, to be fair.
yeah, I know, but like he'd be the perfect fit for him. You know what I mean? But
Yeah, he would.
but like I thought it was okay. I was really worried about the Cardinals. They looked average and I'll just put it down to again game 1 jitters.
For sure. Next game in what was probably the most fun game I think I watched this morning. Pittsburgh beating out outside of the prime time, of course. Pittsburgh beating out the Jets by 2 in what was an A-Rod return to New York. Both QBs performing really, really strong. And I'm happy to take another couple of minutes for this one because it was pretty solid contributions across the board. The real disappointing part was no Caleb Johnson. We were all hoping to see a little bit of Caleb Johnson, and we got 1 carry that went for negative yardage, and there was nothing else, which was a little bit disappointing. But outside of that, guys, I think pretty much everyone that we wanted to get performances from, we kind of got. Both QBs went for over 25, are in top 12 for this week. Jaylen Warren was okay, not great, but Breece Hall over Braylon Allen, that was really, really solid for the Breece Hall truthers. Garrett Wilson had good contributions. Calvin Austin looked great out of the slot with the touchdown. DK Metcalf looked great. I really enjoyed this game. This was a lot of fun. Secko, do you think that these kind of scores from these offenses and the way they played, is there anything that's even remotely sustainable out of this?
No. Aaron Rodgers won't throw 4 touchdowns again in his career. I'll be very shocked. The Jets defense isn't that bad. So it was weird. I mean, touchdowns to the greats, absolute Steelers greats like Ben Skowronek and Calvin Austin III. Don't forget Jonnu Smith with his 5 catches for 15 yards. It's just, I don't know. It was a bit of I agree. Great game to watch as a neutral. I turned it off a lot because Braylon Allen kept getting goal lines. I don't even own Breece Hall, but it just shits me in general. This guy's supposed to be a big body back, but he can't do anything. So, yeah, they're going to frustrate the hell out of a lot of people all year. Garrett Wilson had a great game. Every chance he has less than 30 yards next week. Like, it's just the Fields was great. Again, it was mostly with his legs because he had two touchdowns. Very sort of Danny Dimes-esque. He just didn't pass the ball as well. So I just think, like, it looks great, and 34-32 is great. I just think these two teams will both be frustrating as fantasy owners. I think. So I'm glad I don't own much other than Jaylen Warren, who looked pretty ordinary.
Mav?
I was saying off air, boys, that I've been pretty big on Justin Fields. Like he's going like 7th, 8th round in like Superflex leagues. Maybe not that far, but like 6, 7, somewhere around there. He was the QB6, boys, before he got benched last year after week 6. So look, I know he's got a bad like repertoire, like he can't pass and like that stuff like that. But for fantasy, he churns out good scores. Now, sure, he'll have a week where he scores 10, 12 points or anything like that. But it's these big weeks that gets him going. So like today, 2 rushing touchdowns. Like that'll probably happen again at some point this year. And that'll boost his numbers, sure. I'm just mirroring what Secko said about Breece Hall. That was so frustrating. He was the best player on the field at some points in the game. He had some massive bursts through the middle, and again never got rewarded. Set him up for touchdowns, might I add, and didn't get rewarded in the goal line. So one to watch there. But on the other side of the pill, Caleb Johnson. I want to mention just him. I thought whatever about the Steelers offense, but Caleb Johnson did have a fumble, and it was recovered. So that is one to watch. again, rookie, he will probably end up just finding his way into the squad at some point.
It'll take time.
But keep in mind, boys, James Cook on his first carry in his rookie year fumbled as well and actually lost the ball. So if we're going to compare, they're sort of similar to a degree. I mean, James Cook probably a better pass catcher. But in terms on the ground, they're very similar. So I'm not too worried about the fumble. I'm just worried about the recovery. Let's get him back on the field and let's get him going.
Yeah, exactly right. And we always knew that him coming in might be a 6 to 8 weeks, kind of work your way in, and he could be that guy that kind of wins you a chip towards the back end of the year when he takes a stranglehold on it. So
he could be a good buy low option at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, try to get it while he's low and just stash him on your bench.
He'll be dropped. He'll be dropped everywhere this week.
Yeah, keep an eye on your waivers.
Keep an eye out. If you've got a spare spot, he's someone you can grab and hold on to. He won't get a game for a while, but he could easily get a big role second half.
For sure. Next game on the slate, the Giants, the lowly Giants versus the Commanders. Honestly, wasn't the best showing from the Washington Commanders, knowing how average the Giants were on the other side of the ball, only putting up 21 points. But yeah, you were relatively happy fantasy-wise. Jaden Daniels did his job. Krosky Merritt, he's, how do I put this? Very split opinions on Corey Krosky Merritt. There's people that love him, and then everyone else thinks he's an absolute flog, and they don't want to bar of him. Did his job, 10 for 82, had a touchdown, really good week for minimal opportunities, and ended up having more workload than Eckler. And this is what a lot of the truthers were saying. So interesting split there. Very honestly, personally happy with how that played out and kind of went to expectation. I always thought Eckler would end up being more of a change of pace guy and a receiving guy, as opposed to Krosky, who's probably a little bit better built to handle the between the tackles workload. Big surprise, obviously, Deebo Samuel. He had a monster game, 10 targets, over 100 all-purpose yards and a touchdown, 22.6 and half PPR scoring. Someone that was consistently overlooked all preseason, both in the standard community and through the professional analyst community. A lot of people just didn't give Deebo any airtime, and he did a really good job. Zach Ertz, great waiver wire flyer as well, dragging in the touchdown. We know he's always got that upside. And then the other side of the ball, the Russell Wilson, I just wanted to see him bench for Jackson Dart immediately. Like, get the rookie in there and then kind of. I before or after week 4, you reckon?
It'll be 3 weeks. He'll play week 4, I reckon. Yeah,
Mav.
Oh, I mean, I wouldn't even play Dart, to be honest. I'd play Winston personally. I'd rather Dart.
They're not playing Winston.
They won't.
Dart's already number 2.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm just saying, for argument's sake, I'd rather play Winston and let Dart sit there and learn. You don't need to throw him to the wolves early on in his career. Just let him learn. But look, boys, honestly, DFAB, that wasn't a surprise on Deebo Samuel, my friend. That was expected.
I agree it wasn't a surprise, but in the wider community, no one was talking about Deebo, and everyone was saying it was still Terry McLaurin. Everyone thought it was McLaurin, and
I don't disagree. So that was like phenomenal. I thought, like touches wise, he was involved in the offense. He got it. Obviously, that one carry, he looked pretty slow with that one carry, might add. But again, he just controlled the pace of where he needed to run and behind the blockers, and he did a good job. So he was patient, right? He was patient, which I like. Yeah, that's a bit of patience. That's a bit of an IQ. McLaurin, obviously, it's going to take some time to get going.
He's had no preseason. It makes sense.
Hasn't really had a preseason, but look, boys, even on last year as well. He's not a volume guy. He's very touchdown dependent. So he probably have like 5-6 catches in a game, but he'll need a touchdown to go with it, and it'll be a long ball or something like that. So Deebo could actually hurt Terry McLaurin's fantasy stock this year. But again, I'm not out on McLaurin. That's just just putting like probably a highlighter next to it at the moment, just watching it.
Yeah, for sure. Secko, anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah, no, just I'll reframe my Jackson Dart prediction. It'll be after week 4 because they have Cowboys away, Chiefs, Chargers. They'll be guaranteed 0-4, and that's when they'll pull the pin on Wilson and go to Dart because then they're playing the Saints, so they'll give him an easy kill, and that won't be throwing him to the Wolves. So anyway, that's that. And look, I think this guy's got that arrogance, that moxie that he'll be okay even if they throw him in early. He won't be timid like Zach Wilson was in New York and gets sort of overrun by the media. I think this guy's got a bit of a backbone, so I'm all for it. Other than that, what's his name? Scatterbo was, he got mixed in there. I don't think he's going to play much. He was on a few snaps. Didn't do much. He did a lot of blocking, which is weird. Tracy showed that he just did nothing again as well. He did that a lot of times last year as well. He had some big games, but he went missing a lot. And we'll talk about Bill later on. So
for sure. And speaking of getting thrown to the wolves, the NFL clearly doesn't want Cam Ward to have a good week one. Getting thrown to the Denver defense was baptism by fire for that poor bugger. Put up a 2.4 rate. In all honesty, impressed that he kept it in positive figures this week. Because Denver, their defense looked every bit as dominant as we expected them to be. Picked up where they were last year, especially with their new acquisitions. Disappointing though in that. Sorry, I should have mentioned Tennessee versus Denver. Denver got the win by 8 in a 20-12. Again, really average game. And this is in that middle slate where it was not really much scoring going on. It looked like a preseason game, kind of felt like a preseason game. Bo Nix, 25 for 40, finished sub 10. Really disappointing from someone that had a lot of hype coming into this year, thinking there was going to be a big step up. Other side of the ball, Calvin Ridley. You expected him to have a bad game with Cam Ward struggling so much, but that's going to happen. Cortland Sutton still did his job with a touchdown, got 18.1, which is nice. Troy Franklin really involved for the guys in deeper leagues. We've talked about Troy Franklin, really, really encouraging. I think he's got a lot of potential. 6'3", 22. He's quick. Really, really solid option. But yeah, a bit of a nothing game. I don't think there's really much we can learn from this game, unfortunately. It was a really tough matchup for Tennessee and Cam Ward, and just a matter of getting out of the blocks a little bit slow for Denver. Do you guys kind of feel the same?
Yeah, there's one to watch, though, is Evan Ingram has got a calf injury. We probably missed out on the injury report, but he did not return. And look, they probably didn't need him to return. It was, it was in the fourth quarter, so it was a bit of a, we're in control. We don't need him. So that's fine. Outside of that, it was a pretty average game. I mean, Bo Nix was disappointing. It was. Disappointing for pretty much nearly every fantasy player out there. Dobbins was okay. RJ Harvey broke out for a 50-yard game.
Yeah, he looked dynamic, didn't he?
He looked pretty explosive. But outside of that, there wasn't really anything else there that you'd really be off on about, except for Cortland Sutton. Is the one that we know he's going to be probably a consistent scorer for the whole year. But outside of that, not much.
Yeah, correct. Secko, anything to add?
So I was like Cam Ward's first drive, it was like a 20-yard pass to the top backup tight end, I think it was. And it was called back on a penalty, and then they had to kick a field goal. And the next drive, he had like a 20-yard rush down the sideline, which looked really electric and awesome. Called back on a hole that was on the other side of the line. And like from there, nothing, like he did nothing. he literally did nothing. So 2 really good, strong drive extending plays called back. Sort of stopped any momentum he had early, and then obviously he completed, bugger all passes from there, and then didn't run again. So it's probably not as bad as it looks. I know, he looked better than on his first drive, which is when you normally get your jitters and your nerves and your picks and your fumbles and stuff. He looked pretty good, and then he just sort of got sapped. He'll be a lot better for the run against arguably the best defense going around. I will shout out Alec Amenor, 7 targets. He also had a catch that was called back on a penalty. And it was a pretty long one as well. So he's one to watch. He's the clear number 2 there. Lockett is gone. Lockett's officially retired from the NFL. And so it's going to be just Ridley and Amenor and then a Okonkwo. There's no one else that's going to catch any passes for him. So against an easier defense, they should be all right to at least score in fantasy.
For sure. Next game, we had the 49ers versus Seattle in what was probably a more entertaining game than the scoreline suggests. It was a real arm wrestle between, I guess, modern-day rivals. These guys have had some really big games against one another, kind of dating back to the Colin Kaepernick versus Russell Wilson days. I'm going to throw straight to you guys because I think we all kind of know where this is at. We know CMC played well. We know there was a lot of injuries. Mav, what are your biggest takeaways out of the 49ers Seattle game?
This is the biggest one and has to be highlighted immediately, and that's Kenny Walker pretty much splitting with Charbonnet. I don't even know if it was even a split. I think he was actually outsnapped by Charbonnet in the end. Charbonnet looked better, more explosive, had goal line carries as well. So, like, it was a really just disgusting, gross game for any Kenny Walker owner. And look, I don't think they can move away from it at this point. So that is the first and only take that I've got for this game. Outside of that, everything else is expected. My man Ricky Pearce looks pretty good though.
Yeah, he looks really fucking good. Secko?
Look, it took 1 week for Charbonnet to get the job, which I thought it might take sort of 3 or 4 back and forth. Everything that Kubiak had said was that Walker would get the first run, and he didn't. Like, he did technically, and then I think Charbonnet had like the whole rest of the drive, and it's clear that it's a one-man team in the passing attack as well. Cooper Kupp had 3 targets, 2 catches. Other than that, just the 2 tight ends had 1 catch each. So Jackson Smith, 13 targets, 124 yards. So mine and Mav's boys, my guys, doing the business. But I expect that from Smith and Jimmy every week. He'll get 8 to 10 targets every week because Kupp. I watched a fair bit of this, and he's just he can't separate. I sort of foreshadowed it on one of the pods last week before. I saw it happening last year, at the Rams. That was his ace up his sleeve, and he doesn't have that move anymore. He doesn't have that twitch and to get off. So and Darnold's not good enough to make space for him. So I fear for that, but they need someone else because he's starting to get double teamed in Jibber as well. So, but Charbonnet's the story, 100%.
For sure.
Oh, and Brian Robinson. I know McCaffrey went nuts, and he had 32 touches. Brian Robinson having 9 carries was a big surprise for me.
Yeah, I think a part of that
again.
I think they might have been. I think they might have protected Guerendo a little bit coming in with the shoulder concern. I still think Guerendo is going to be arguably the backup.
I mean anyone. I don't mean just Robinson. I mean anyone. Like any backup having 9 carries. I was very shocked at that. It was probably a byproduct of Kittle.
I think so.
You look at McCaffrey's 9 for 73. Like probably 7 and 55 of that goes to Kittle if he's still there. And then probably 7 of Robinson's carries go to CMC as well. So, but it was still a bit strange that he got as much as he did because it wasn't in like when the game was over or anything like that. It was very much in the balance. And
for sure,
if that's going to continue, it's a bit strange. But we'll see what happens.
For sure. Very quickly, 3 last games. We're going to blitz through these guys because I know that we're excited. Sure. We're talking a lot about this. We're running a little bit long. Detroit versus Green Bay. Green Bay with what I think in the court of public opinion was a bit of a surprise, winning 27-13 on their home deck. Secko, I'll go straight to you there, mate. Looking through the box score, it wasn't too outside of what we all expected. Obviously, some lower scores on the Detroit side, but probably the bigger concern or the worry was Matthew Golden.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that either because Detroit have a good offense. Good defense. And no one really got any more than 2 carries or two catches. Or 3 catches. So they were held well. I'm also not surprised that Detroit were sort of dysfunctional for periods of the game. So I expected the Packers to win, and they did pretty comfortably. They were up the whole game. So as expected from me, but Gibbs disappointing very. He better turn it around.
For sure, Mav.
Packers looking like a pretty solid defense. I know they got Michael Parsons, but
they did.
They made a really solid offense last year look like they're second rate. Keep in mind they've had a coaching change again, which will take some time to really get going. But the Lions offense looked really, really bad, and never looked like they were going to get going at all. They had a late one in the end in the last quarter to Tesla, but outside of that, it was pretty gross for the most part. Amon-Ra was a massive bust. Massive bust actually he was this week. But outside of that, not much else to give Josh Jacobs keeps doing Josh Jacobs things as well, so he's solid.
Tesla with one of the better touchdown catches I can remember seeing in recent memory. That was fucking insane. That was really, really good. The final game in that mid-morning slate was disgusting. The LA Rams winning 14-9 over Houston. Pretty disappointing all around. Excuse me. Looked like we got a little bit of clarity with Chubb looking like the guy in the backfield at the Texans. Wasn't particularly great, but was nowhere near as bad as I think a lot of people expected him to be. Puka Nacua kept doing Puka Nacua things, heaps of volume. Devontae Adams, as we kind of know, he's going to be touchdown dependent. In games where he doesn't score, he'll be okay. If he does get the touchdown looks, then he's going to be a lot better. But Secko, obviously, you got the Ram on the lid there, mate. What were your takeaways from this game overall, especially on the Ram side?
Yeah, Ram side, it's a very clear three-man offense. That's the strength of the team. Defense is good enough. All we need to do is don't worry about Jordan Whittington or Blake Corum or anyone. Just or a tight end. Terrence Ferguson will come on eventually when he's fit. That's cool, but you don't need it. They just don't. And I mean, Nacua and Adams had 66%, 2/3 of the receptions that Stafford threw. Or targets, sorry, that he threw. So, yeah, and Kyron Williams, he's going to just consistently score. So, as expected, what I want to talk about is how just pathetic CJ Stroud is and has been since his 1 year that he came out. He's got to fix that because he just looked shithouse. And Nico Collins is too good a player to be wasting his time with this guy if he's going to be putting up this sort of crap. I'm a big Nico guy. He was just not looked at. He was clear and open so many times. Stroud just shits himself and throws it into the ground. So could be
Mav,
1 week.
anything to add?
We said that cobwebs overreacting, but I'm worried.
Sorry to cut you off there, Mav. Anything to add, mate?
Not much. Just wanted to mirror Stroud being awful. I do own him in one league, and I was thinking maybe he might have a resurgence, second-year blues into a third-year learning curve of what he's actually done, but it turns out that the offensive line is still pretty average, and he also hasn't really improved himself. But look, I'm not going to rule him out just yet. I probably need more of a sample size before I do, so I'll give him a month.
For sure. And then primetime today. If you haven't watched it, I would highly recommend you go back and watch specifically the fourth quarter for one of, I think, the greatest primetime performances that I have ever seen in Josh Allen. Almost 300 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, and plucked the victory from what looked like a damn near certain defeat. On ESPN, they were at a 0.01 chance of winning at the start of the fourth quarter, and they got it. It was genuinely sensational to watch, with Buffalo getting up 41-40, and a real MVP caliber battle between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, both putting up, or essentially Lamar with a 30-burger and Josh Allen with close to 40. Derrick Henry looked like he has not missed a step. If anything, he looked a year younger than he is. He's 31 years old and broke away for multiple 40, 50-yard plus runs. Cook looked okay, better in the passing game than he did on the ground. And then through the air, I think the big surprises were from Keon Coleman and Zay Flowers. Both these guys have, Keon Coleman had a pretty disappointing rookie year, and really came out with a vengeance with a real number one ex-receiver type workload today with 11 targets for 100+ yards and a tutty. But Zay Flowers' career day, pretty sad for him that he wasn't able to get the dub in such a massive day. Secko, we'll start with you there, mate. Pretty awesome game and great for fantasy.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. There's everyone that you wanted to do something did something. Pretty pumped for Keon. I saw a lot of him last year and a lot in him last year. The only thing is on Cook, great fantasy day, but outside of the 51-yard reception, he had 4 catches for 7 yards and he went at 3.4 on the ground. So great fantasy day on the back of sort of a couple of plays. So Of course, they're against me in almost every league. But yeah, I'm still concerned. I've been concerned about him all off season, and I still don't think he's the borderline RB1 that he appeared to be. But
Yeah, for sure.
he could be. He needs touchdowns.
Yeah, he does. Mav, anything to add there, mate?
I actually don't mind James Cook. He found a way to be competitive when he needed to. He can go that extra level, which makes him a good player. And look, it's going to take him some time. He's probably not really 100% at this point, or he's a bit underdone. So it'll take him, 2-3 weeks to really get going. So again, I can't judge James Cook until I see another month out of him. But all in all, it was a crazy, crazy game, wasn't it? It was just mental.
Yeah, it was. That was so much fun.
Keon Coleman is definitely the one, if he's on your waiver wire, to just definitely keep an eye on. We could see a breakout year there. Again, I'm not reacting over one game. They're playing from behind, majority of it, so the ball's obviously going to be pinging around. But the talent is certainly there.
Yeah, I think he's in a pretty similar spot to Ricky Pearsall, right? Like he's probably a little bit better in that defenses will be forced to be a little bit more accountable overall because there's more weapons, or quote unquote weapons at the Bills that you have to defend. But both guys coming into a second year, both guys have relatively high draft capital. Both guys are very talented. And they've both got, really solid QBs thrown to them. So keen to see how Keon goes. Quickly move on, guys. We've got the overreactions. So the idea here is that I'm going to give you guys a headline. And I want you guys to, as quickly as possible, do you think it's an overreaction or is this legitimate? Kind of tell me why and give me a percentage. So from 0 to 100%, how likely you think this is going to happen. Okay. Number one, we're going to start with Daniel Jones is a QB1 rest of the year. Mav, we'll start with you.
I don't think so. I think he's probably a mid-range QB2 with the offensive line, and obviously his rushing ability. Look, he's going to have some stinkers along the way. It's just that's Danny Dimes. It's been his career in a heartbeat. Percentage of him being a QB1. So we're talking top 12.
Top 12 end of year.
Any position. I'm giving him a 20% chance, and that's overs too. That's him having a good week one start.
For sure. Secko?
I would say less than 10%. Because he's not going to run to and from the 1 yard line every week. He did only throw one pass, one touchdown pass. So yeah, I'd be shocked if he's higher than quarterback 18 at the end of the season. I also don't think he'll play every game, so that's per game, but he'll get benched at some point. Yeah,
right. So you still think Anthony Richardson's going to be the guy to come in?
Yeah.
Interesting.
When Steichen gets the sack, Richardson will come in. They're not going to play Miami every week, so yeah, they'll lose a lot of games
for sure.
I've seen a lot of Daniel Jones over the years.
Yeah.
I'm scarred.
Yeah, I think behind a good offensive line, I think at his best, Daniel Jones has the ability to be a decent QB. And there's kind of been rumblings of, could he break out? Because he's got that fantasy upside of being able to rush. Like, he's pretty athletic. So I'd like to hope behind a good offensive line, having a really, really good running back, the closest thing he's had to having Saquon around again, good receivers around him. Hopefully he can put it together. I think he's going to hold the job for most of the year, unless the Colts have a losing record and they want to try to give Richardson a little bit more of a shake. Second of my 3 overreaction or true story headlines for you. Akinda Bowers and Laporta before him. Fannin is this year's breakout tight end to have. Secko, do you think Fannin has that level of ceiling in him, or is this a flash in the pan in week 1?
It's not a flash in the pan. I don't think he has that ceiling. I'm a big Fannin dude. Have been since the draft. I had a feeling he might be able to become the number 1 there. But I don't think he'd be much more than a tight end. High tight end 2, low tight end 1.
Beautiful. Mav?
It's a great question. He's a receiving tight end, so that's what you like about him, right? He loves to get out there and catch the ball. The offense is going to be pretty crap. But at the same time, you expect him playing from behind a lot. So an opportunity could be there. Does this rely on David Njoku being in the house for the whole year? Probably. I mean, David Njoku's not going to have 35 or 37 passing yards or receiving yards, should I say, in a game. It's unlikely that's ever going to happen. So, yeah, he's going to be up and down, sure. But I don't know if I believe that Fannin is going to be a tight end one. Maybe one day, depending on personnel. But, again, I'd need to see a larger sample size at NFL level before I'd really invest into Fannin. But, hey, in rookie drafts, he was going in the 4th round. That's still good value in rookie drafts, dynasty leagues. So, I wouldn't be banking on that.
For sure. And the last one is about Bill Ja'Cory Krusky-Merritt. Trade Eckler because JCM has tanked his value. He is the number 1 at the Commanders. Mav, I'm going to start with you.
I think it's going to happen.
What are your thoughts?
I think it's going to happen.
I think it is too.
I think it's going to happen. As much as it pains me to say it, I think it's going to happen. How long is it going to take for it to happen? Again, probably like maybe week 4, week 5. It'll take consistent efforts for him to build up. Again, we're talking about a guy who needs to be able to take the whole workload as well. Yeah, like we need to get him 15 carries, and he needs to be able to actually produce with that amount of workload. Eckler's proven he can do that. He can manage the game as such. But again, maybe there's a change of pace for now. Ja'Cory's awesome, but I do think it's going to happen. I do. I really do.
Beautiful, Secko. You look like you were going to be sick when you heard me say that.
I was the biggest Bill guy before all this happened. Like I was ready to get him in the 14th round of every single draft. He was going undrafted, and then all this happened. It made me sick. That's why I'm off him. But he was going in like the 5th and 6th round of some drafts I saw. He's not ever going to repay that value. So yes, he'll be the main rushing down the back. Jane Daniels is still going to run a lot as well. So I think he had one big run today. Half of his yards went in one play. If he can sort of maintain a 4.5 yards per carry with his 12 carries, he'll keep his role, and he'll have the occasional sort of 100-yard day. It wouldn't surprise me. Eckler's not going anywhere. I still think Debo's going to be a lot more involved when they need to. And they had Mick Nichols active, and it might be the other dude. Can't remember his name now, Rodriguez or Enriquez or whatever his name is. There'll still be a share, but he's going to be the main guy. There's no doubt. I had the share mixed up. I still thought Eckler would get 10 carries and Bill would get 6. And whoever the third guy was get 4. It was 6, 10, and 4. But yeah, he's definitely number 1 guy. I'm happy for him. I'm not happy for the guys who paid 5th round capital for him. Yeah,
completely understandable. We're going to try to do that every week, that overreactions, and I feel like that's a fun one. So we'll stick with that. Very last thing before we wrap up here, guys. Obviously, we've got a game tomorrow, so we're not all done for the week, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of games decided by tomorrow. Some big names in tomorrow's game. Minnesota at Chicago. I'm going to get you guys to get this in two words. All right. Your prediction for being the winner. So give us the winner and who's going to be the highest scoring player of the game. For me, I'm taking Minnie. Highest scoring being Hawkinson. I really think he's a massive one. Mav, to you, what are your thoughts?
I'm going to take the Bears in this one at home. And I'm going to probably take DeAndre Swift, a bit of an out there sort of prediction, but as the highest fantasy scoring player in the game.
Beautiful. And Secko?
Vikings, Jordan Mason, 2 touchdowns.
Oh, God, I'd love that so much. That would be sensational.
Aaron Jones, less than 35 total yards.
Oof. Oh, take it to the bank. Love it. I love it when Secko calls his shot.
I'll put a bet down.
Oh, I like it.
Got it now.
Hell yeah. Guys, thank you very much for joining us. Hopefully you guys were able to get plenty out of tonight's show. We will be back, I believe, tomorrow with another show. If not tomorrow, it'll be Wednesday with a lot more Supercoach content. So highly encourage you to be here and involved where we can discuss expected trades and things like that in Supercoach, because obviously with all the injuries and stuff we've discussed, there's a lot of moves to be made. So stay tuned, guys. Thank you very much for your time tonight, and we'll see you later.
See ya.